Hey guys, Gerald Peters. Check out the house this is that house that I've been working on. Hope everybody's doing well. I paid a ridiculous sum for this house like 9 years ago, 10 years ago, in the right after the recession. Let's go check it out. You can see I've been painting. Let's go check it out. But hey, I wanted to talk to you. We're painting the trend now. I wanted to talk to you. Today I put out a tweet and I talked about just accomplishing one solid thing every day. Whenever I feel overwhelmed, like remodeling an entire house, most of it by myself, not all of it. This was my one thing today. I had to get this back up. It was just getting in our way. Look at these beautiful steps. And I had to get that ceiling painted. Those were on my have to. And you can get overwhelmed when you're remodeling an entire house yourself. Life, right? Everyone has the same problems. If you have some money, if you built up some wealth, you still have kids, you still have problems, you still have aches, all the things that everybody has, man. In my book, You Don't Have to Die Broke, I talk about this idea that people go through the life cycle, meaning that when you're a kid, you need money for different things, for different reasons, and when you become, a teenager, and then when you go into your 20s, and then when you go into your 30s, you need money for different, they got the light off in here, different things as well. So you can see, get all the siding. So it's called the human life cycle. But here's what happens, is it's often kind of broke up in these 7 to 10 year periods. And in my book, I talk about this idea of building wealth. Begin to think in periods of 7 to 10 years. It takes 7 to 10 years. I don't care what anyone else tells you here on YouTube. It takes 7 to 10 years just to lay the foundation to build wealth. To lay the foundation, not to get rich. Now, some people might get lucky, and guess what? If you don't play cards, you're not going to get blackjack. So you might get lucky, and I hope you do, but that's not normal. It's going to take you 7 to 10 years just to build the foundation. But here's what goes wrong in people's lives, is they never actually lay the foundation. Or the foundation they build is, it's not very good. And they don't get the buckets right. In the book, I talk about the buckets. And not to regurgitate, I don't want everything to be the same, but repetition is the mother of skill. And these are the things you have to learn. If you never build the foundation, you'll never get rich. You'll never build wealth. But here, anybody can. See, I believe that anybody, regardless of age or race or financial situation, in this country, with the power that we have, the spirit that I was born with, that me and you both share, and our ability to hold thought in formless substance, you understand you can manifest shit, right? The things that you hold in your mind, you can actually manifest. Now, you're not going to just think them into existence, but the thoughts that you begin to think and the thoughts that you hold in repetition, that you hold in your mind, some people call it praying. Maybe it's prayer. I don't know. Different religions call it different things. But it is this idea that we can manifest by holding thought. The Science of Getting Rich says holding thought in formless substance. I like that. It's a good book. If you haven't read it, it was written in 1911, 17 chapters. I've tried to blueprint myself in my business after it. My business of real estate. It was real estate that really helped me break free of having to have a job. And it allowed me to do things that I wanted to do. I had a landscaping business. I did marketing businesses. I've had online businesses. I've had businesses that did well, and then they didn't do well. And then some did really well, and some did awful, and I lost money. But the reason I was able to pursue those things and be an entrepreneur and write books and do podcasts and post shit on YouTube and not really be overly concerned whether they're watched or not, or that you even subscribe, I'm supposed to ask you. But what allowed me to break free of a lot of the restrictions that I see people run into or push up to is in life, you're going to become overwhelmed. At some point, life's going to punch you in the face, I promise you. Kids are going to get sick. There's going to be flooding and hurricanes and coronaviruses, and there's going to be wars, and the Bible says wars and rumors of wars. Like, you're not even supposed to be surprised these things happen. They're going to happen. This is why I teach that you should have a 2-year emergency fund. That once you get the emergency fund to 3 to 6 months, good, that's where we want to be. Now we can get to investing. But before that, that bucket of savings, because I teach this idea of 3 buckets, the well. I didn't invent this, I just teach it. I think it's the best illustrative way to look at it. You drop your bucket down in the well. The well is your way of making money, and you pull out water, and with that water is your income. You have to pour it into one bucket, and that bucket has a hole in it. And then from that bucket, you put it into the second bucket that's labeled savings, and the third bucket is your investing. You have to get these buckets right. Most people just have a checking account and then maybe a 401k, a checking account, and then maybe a stock account or a brokerage account. And they don't have the buckets properly arranged. And so as you begin to go through life like everyone, with sicknesses and floods and wars and rumors and job losses and the economy going up and down, they never laid the foundation of the process of building wealth. It takes time. It's going to take approximately 7 to 10 years of you consistently investing week after week, month after month, being on it, not getting scared. You can't be freaked out every time the market goes down. You have to study history. Part of the process of being a good investor is you acquiring skills of being an investor. The skill set of investing is super important. Most people don't have it, and yet they allow themselves excuses on why they don't have it. But listen, you have to get it. You can keep it as simple as you want to keep it, but you have to get the basic skill set of 1, managing yourself, understanding the 3 pillars of success, health, wealth, and mindset, and then begin to properly arrange your money, finances, into the 3 bucket system, whereby you try to live in the first bucket. Remember I said it has a hole in it. Well, that's your bills that you don't really need. Now, you need to eat, you need lights, you need to pay your rent, right? You need your cell phone. There are some things that you're going to need in life. You don't need payments on a fancy sports car. You don't need credit card bills. You don't need college loans. Your parents let you down there. You shouldn't have gotten those, but maybe you have them, maybe you don't. Maybe you have the credit cards. Maybe you have the car payments. What I want to teach you is the fastest way for you to build wealth is to eliminate that debt, begin filling up the savings bucket, and then to begin developing those investor skills and learning the things that you can invest in. And you could work at McDonald's, be a roofer, a painter, anybody, and develop these skill sets. And if you were to go one step further, get the book, The Science of Getting Rich, Health, Wealth, and Mindset, and spend some time on that book. Don't just read it and then move on to the next book. Think on that shit. Contemplate on that stuff. Begin to implement the processes and the chapters and the ideas into your life right now. One of those ideas of accomplishing one thing every day, one important thing every day. Why? Because life becomes overwhelming. And it's through that process of life being overwhelming that you never actually lay the foundation to building wealth. It always seems like a good idea. Yeah, honey, we're going to get on that. And we really should start the investing. We should get on that 401k, but Johnny needs braces and we got to go to Cancun. And well, we just got that new car and you just never do it. And sometimes it's legit. I get it, man. Sometimes these reasons are legit. People do get sick and there are car wrecks and people do mess up and things do happen and these things happen. Life will punch you in the fucking face. That is true. I know it, you know it, we all know it. So what do? We prepare for it. The bucket system, my book about you don't have to die broke, it's free. That book is about preparing you for the punch that's coming, and you're going to get punched about every 7 to 10 years. Pow! But if you don't lay the foundation, if you don't make it a priority in your life, you as the man and the husband of your family, like you have a burden to wear, you have a crown to wear. You as the mom, like at what point are you held responsible for your family being 2nd, 3rd, and 4th generation in poverty? At what point is that shit your fault? Because you decided not to break it. You decided to live like the idiots before you. Or you decided not to. On my podcast, I talk about this idea as heavy as the head that wears the crown. Doing these things that I'm talking about is the hard way. The easy way is just to get overwhelmed and just to put it off to the side because life is overwhelming. And not everyone can handle it as well as other people. And that's why I began to teach this stuff and talk about it and put out my book, because I realized not everyone knew these things. That while I was living them every day and every week, literally every day, if you follow me on Instagram, I buy stocks every fucking day. Buying stocks, selling some stocks, collecting dividends. I collect rent on over a dozen houses every month. Like I'm in this money game every day. I'm actually trying to get richer every single day. Actually trying to compound, focused on that, collecting collecting all this money through my mind and investing. And for me, it's just normal day. And then I realized, like, hey, not everybody collects dividends. Like, I collected $2,500 in dividends this month. That's not that much. But there's some people that collected none. Zero. And I collected $2,500 worth, and I don't need the money. Why? Because the buckets are straight. I got the well. I've got the necessities. I'm living right. I'm living below my means. Like, I have margin. Margin's what gets you rich. Margin. Not making a lot of money. It's what you keep. It's what you do with the money that you make. It's the money you keep. Margin in business, we call that profit margin. Wages are fine. That's how you'll pay your bills. But it's margin. It's the money you don't need. The trick to money is having money. You take those chunks of money and you begin to allocate it throughout the buckets. And we can't get to the investing bucket seriously and pound that shit hard for 7 to 10 years if you have the necessities bucket jacked up and we don't even have the savings in line. Like, you're falling down on you. You let yourself down. Most people get hung up through the process of life. They become overwhelmed and they can never set up the buckets right. And they just stay in debt month after month, year after year. And a whole 7 to 10 year period goes by. And no, their wealth didn't grow. And no, it didn't compound. They actually got fucking less wealthy. It's been 10 years and they're worth less than they were 10 years ago. You actually got less wealthy. You had reverse compounding. A lot of people in that scenario, and I realized I have to start teaching the things that I'm taking for granted, the things the Spirit has told me, the things that I know, and you could laugh and say, what is this guy talking about? Listen, the universe will give you what you want. The universe will allow you to manifest the things that you truly want and believe in and hold in form of substance, or some people call that shit praying. But if you believe in it and the thing that is that you want brings more value to other people, look at this house, dude. This house is beautiful. Look at these wood floors that I'm protecting. You see this? This is a beautiful product. This house is worth like $200 and something thousand. It's located right by a 4-year university. I'm going to let some married college kids live here, and this will be a nicer house than they'd ever be able to buy on their own. That's the product. I bring more use value to people than I ask for in monetary value. That is the secret to getting rich. If your food tastes better than you charge for, lots of people buy your food. And so the way we get rich is through giving, like giving. And so I realized, like, I know these things. I'm buying stocks every day. I'm blue collar, never went to college, never made more than $12.50, but I learned the process of books. Things like the science of getting rich and this process of acquiring houses and real estate and compounding that and how that works and what price to buy them at and how much to charge and fixing them up and then taking that money and investing in stocks and just being about that game day after day, week after week. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that. I don't ever take a fucking day off from building wealth, ever. You can, I can't. Can't. My kingdom's at war. See, I can look around and I see all of the problems that are coming. I see that you're broke. Now, your friends don't know you're broke and you're not sharing it with everyone. And you might fool other people that you're not overwhelmed in life and that you got it all figured out. I know you're full of shit. I know you're struggling. I know. 'Cause I feel it too, man. And there's more people like me than like them. Those guys you see with the Lambos and the jets, and we're all envious of their lifestyle. What I don't give two fucks about. You know what I care about? Financial freedom. I get up when I get up. I work when I want, and nobody tells me what to do. And I make my money with my heart, my mind, my own physical labor, and my money. For me, that was all I ever wanted. And I realized that was just math. That was just a very simple fucking formula. That if you spent 7 to 10 years and laid the foundation and got the buckets right, and you did it week after week, month after month, year after year for 7 to 10 years, you could build such a base that you would be financially free forever. For the rest of your life, you choose the job you worked, when you went, and when you decided to quit, and when you decided to go on vacation, you would go. You might not be the richest man, but you could. There's nothing to stop me. This house is paid for. It's $200,000. I could pull it out and go buy something else. As much as I want to work and as many as I want to buy, it's unlimited. There's a house on every corner. Look, there's a house. There's a house. And I could buy all of them. I could just keep buying fucking houses, house after house. You think you can? I know I can. I know all I could do. I could buy a house tomorrow. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. I can buy stocks tomorrow. I bought some today. Go follow me on Instagram. Don't let this life overwhelm you, man. Don't let them overwhelm you. You don't know. You don't know what to do, and you don't know where to start. It's bullshit. You know. You know exactly what to do. You know exactly where to start. You start right here. You start right here and right here. It starts with you. You decide you want that shit. See, wealth and riches, that's just not laid up for special people. It's not laid up for people of privilege. It's laid up for those people who want to take it, who want to seize it, who want it. You think this shit's reserved for white people? It's reserved for anybody who wants to take it. You come get it. Well, first, it starts in your mind. And if you let life overwhelm you and you don't get the buckets right and you're loaded down in debt because you're trying to live right now and gratify yourself and live above your means because you haven't figured out self-control, you haven't mastered the bucket system, you haven't surrendered yourself to what your conditions really are. You know what that is, right? When you put things on, when you're borrowing money that you don't have, you think you're bigger than you are. You're living past your circumstances, and the secret starts, you have to live below it. Why? Because the trick to money is having money. The trick to money is keeping it. Like you keep it, not spend it. It's not lifestyle. It's not it at all. See, lifestyle's laid up for the old people. You guys like that shit. You think it's cool. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. What you see as cool, I see as just lazy motherfuckers. What you see as envious is I see as stupid investing. What you see as neat and lifestyle, I see a waste of fucking time. That's what I see when I see people on beaches and in cars and all that. I see losers. That's what I see. Because I know what a king does. And that's not what a king does. A king's not sitting on the beach. He's not worried about the shit to wear and show off to you. You know what the king cares? About the kingdom. His job first is to protect the crown. Your own mind. It's not to be a clown. It's to wear a crown. The king is to protect and serve other people. Not self-indulgence. And so when you look up to characters who do that, no wonder you're losing. No wonder you're chasing the quick fix and not realizing that it takes 7 to 10 years just to lay the foundation, to even have the right to be rich. To lay the foundation. And everyone teaching everything else is a lie. They are. Because everyone who knows what I know, the real businessmen, the real ballers and the real players and the real people,